Hi everybody, welcome to the next Making the Magazine. Today we have a special guest with us. Well, I say special. bit old hat now. We've got Tony from Direquest. Say hello, Tony.
Hello.
I said I wasn't going to say this, but I am going to say it. We have recorded this twice already and messed it up both times. Tony, what do you do on Crucible Magazine?
I do the comic in the back, The Forgotten Warrior.
Did. And you also are doing an amazing DM screen for the Kickstarter.
Ooh, I am. Yeah, that's been fun to work on.
Yeah. Sometimes.
It's been a long project to work on. But it's been cool. I think there's a sketched up version on the Kickstarter right now.
I think I'm going to release the full, well, not the full artwork. People just print in their own. But yeah, we'll put, because I think it'll still be a work in progress. I don't think you'll have it finished by the time the Kickstarter ends. But anyway.
Is that a challenge?
No, because the sooner you've got it finished, the quicker I have to pay you. So take your time. It's me and Tony that are predominantly making the comic. TJ is obviously involved to a degree, but it's pretty much you and me spitballing, bouncing back ideas, and then we will bounce stuff over to TJ for his kind of like final feedback, especially if it's like world lore kind of things, because TJ knows the Freelands setting, which is where, this is where the comic is set. It is the Forgotten Warrior, Legends of the Freelands. But yeah, so in general, the way it works is.
Go on, tell him how you send me a couple sketches. I send you some work back, and you told me to redo it 3 times until we're happy with it. And
I mean,
you yell at me to get back in my cage to keep working, and then I do.
What the hell is this?
Hamster wheel spinning until we get our 4 pages in.
Yeah. So the thing is that because I'm obviously something of an artist myself, I make the maps. Something of an artist. And the thing is with artists, and I mentioned this in the previous Drazon Delve making the magazine video, where when you're working with other artists, especially when you've got a vision of what you need it to be and what's in your head, there kind of has to be this element of the person you've got working on it being willing to take the critiques and kind of change stuff up. And kind of like do it to the spec that you want. So, giving somebody like a SketchUp or something like that and saying, okay, this is what I want it to be like. The artist then comes and tries to kind of get that as close as possible. Apart from Tony, every goddamn time I send him something, he comes back with something completely different. Every time, without fail. It's like, okay, so you said you wanted this. However...
But... Have you considered you were wrong in your initial thought process? And then you go, no, I was right.
Yeah.
And we go back and forth a few times over the course of a week or so until we fight it out, punch and kick it out until we have a nice, perfectly in the middle idea. Yeah.
I think the current issue that's being worked on for issue 1, not for the free issue. So the issue 1 version, I think that became more apparent. I can't remember it as much with the launch issue.
You know what's funny? I think it's flipped, because I felt more back and forth when we did the launch one.
But that's where we're creating everything, though, right? That was a bit more...
Yeah. Well, not even on the creation aspect, down to like literally just putting the pages together, I think. I don't know, because we also haven't entirely wrapped some of the different things we want to do with issue 1 yet, so maybe there's more battles to be fought still. Yeah,
maybe. Not in a drawing or narrative sense, literally.
Literally.
There isn't a Forgotten Warrior issue 2 because you've quit. When TJ and I were discussing what we were going to put in the magazine, we thought a comic would be cool. I think, cool magazines, cool comic. And I said to TJ, like, are you aware of Tony at Direquest? And me and Tony have known each other for quite a while. We hang out quite a lot in the creators Discord that we're all part of. And he was like, yeah. And so we approached Tony, and Tony was an immediate sign up. He was like, yes, absolutely, want to be involved in this. And Because, and I think that was the thing, we didn't just turn around and say, hey, we want you to draw this comic that we're going to make. We want you to be the artist for it. It was very much no, I want you to make this comic with us, right?
Yeah, I think that was a lot of the draw too, where I think I would have been on board either way, had it just be, here's the script, do the 3 pages and, knock it out, get it done. I still would have been on board for that, but I think what had me so invested from the jump was that it was very much pitched and has proven to be very collaborative, where it was definitely like your guys' baby, and now we've all kind of adopted, and now we fight over custody every time we sit down to work on it. But that, I don't know, that's what makes the process of it so much fun and engaging, where it isn't just what you and TJ have kind of come up with. It's very much, a group effort at this point. One that I'm proud of, which has been cool.
So the way it worked was, me and TJ kind of bounced some initial ideas about the comic before we brought Tony on board originally. And we're like, okay, what about this? What about that? And I kind of came up with the main beats of where I felt it was going to start, roughly. But mostly I knew how it was going to end. We already kind of know what the full story arc is going to be, and we think it's probably a good year's worth of issues, right?
Yeah, I definitely feel ready to...
I think to tell a good story.
Yeah, there's enough there.
I think to tell, and then because this is the thing. So it's like the sub caption is Legends of the Freelance. So we absolutely have the intention of following different legends.
Yeah, it's funny because we've already talked about what comes next, and we're still figuring out what we have now, which I think is a testament to how excited and passionate we are about putting the comic together and the stories that are going into it.
Yeah, it is very much. It becomes a collaborative world building thing. Like I said, TJ, the freelance setting was originally TJ's for his Patreon and the DM Tool Chest. Shout out. So he has been building the freelance setting for quite a while. So now it's become like the de facto Crucible setting, and that's where the magazine is set. So TJ, we bounce off the lore and like, hey, we're thinking that the comic's going to go to, this kind of environment, and he's like, that would be great for this place. And he's got stuff, and he's got kind of like how the different races are changed for the freelance, and that kind of like helps guide us in a different way. And so like with the very initial concepts, I'm like, okay, we're thinking of doing this. He's like, yep, okay, that will work, great. I think the story arc, it had legs, and then we didn't really I think did we come to you with an idea of what we wanted the 3 characters to be?
So you guys you came in with the 3 characters that we wanted to have, or that you wanted to have be the main 3. I knew the ending that you wanted, and there was a little bit of setup involved in terms of where we wanted to go, but a lot of the beginning process, aside from the sketches and the ideas that I had visually, was a lot of talking about the story and how we wanted to get it started, and having my own input on what I thought would be cool and the kind of story that I would want to help write and illustrate, which again has been like a really cool part of the project, where it isn't just your guys' story just with my coat of paint on top. It's become oh, that's a good idea, Tony had this idea, let's do that.
I don't remember that. I don't remember saying that.
It's happened one time. I'll pull up a screenshot of it from 6 months ago. I've got it framed on my wall. It shouldn't be too hard.
Yeah. That's so rare. The praise.
The one time I got an attaboy 6 months ago when the project started. It lured me in.
Oh god, man, 6 months ago. That's how long it was. Yeah.
Roundabout.
Yeah. So the initial storyboard was I think we've kept relatively true to it to a degree.
Yeah, if anything, I think we've expanded on it.
Well, yeah, because we expanded it a full page, because it was originally a 3-page comic, and then Tony wanted more money, so it ended up becoming a 4-page comic because we pay him per page. Grossly underpaid.
That's all it was for.
Yeah. But as we've talked about, 4 pages is a good number. 3 pages felt too short for a per issue anyway. 3 pages per month is just not enough.
No, and that's kind of why I suggested initially, beyond the fact that I just want money from you guys, is that I did think, like, sitting down with the storyboard and the ideas that we had, I was like, we need just that one extra page, that one, huge chunk of real estate for us to get the story across. Not even just in the first issue, but, in the issues moving forward, we're going to have all that room.
Yeah.
To kind of do what we got to do.
It was... So I think it was a bit of a weird one. The first issue, because it had the opening, kind of like the prequel moment.
Yeah.
It becomes a flashback, doesn't it? It's like, oh, this is what's happened. This is what's going to happen. Then we flash back.
Yeah.
And then... So that had taken up a page. So it's like... And then you're getting... So we already had a page used. Then we're getting into the... Okay, now this is for the issue. And you've got
it. We wanted to cram those 3 extra pages down into 2.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know.
Yeah. I think we didn't necessarily know exactly what was going to happen with the big sea kraken type creature. We knew that something was going to happen, but I think... God, I'm just remembering stuff now, like how much it had all changed around, because I think we were originally going to introduce the ranger before we introduce the mage.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the ranger just kind of, like, turns up. But, yeah, oh, God, yeah, that's spoilers, isn't it? The mage is in the next issue.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
No, I'm excited to start showing some of that stuff off, too. Like, obviously, it'll be in issue 1, but some of the work that's going into issue 1, and then even some of the ideas that I know we're going to be implementing for issue 2 are exciting to have worked on, because we had these conversations about how we've wanted the story to kind of go, and mapping some of the stuff out month to month, or I guess issue to issue. Even last year, you and I remember having very specific conversations about the Kraken splash page. I remember us like kind of saying it together, like, "Oh, that's going to be a badass like big splash page where it's going to be this huge full page art." And that was a cool like little moment to remember.
Yeah,
and like this is going to make this issue of the comic like really, really fucking cool. Like a nice staple at the end of it.
It is the one thing that so obviously some people will know, some people won't. You'll kind of see it in the different videos of the making the magazine. The original demo layout that we did was lackluster. It wasn't great. It was kind of like getting stuff on paper. And then we changed everything into like the big double spread adventure art. And because now every adventure starts with a double spread, it kind of changed the order of the pages so that it goes double spread, double spread, double spread, like throughout. So every section starts on the left-hand side, which means the Kraken is now on the right-hand side. So when you go onto that second page spread, you see it. Because we were like so excited about it being...
Like the reveal.
It's the reveal, like you turn the page and then you see it. It's the one thing that I hate the most about our layout, because it means we have to really put something awkward in. It might change. It might change as things start getting added and removed in future issues. But yeah, I was really looking forward to that reveal happening, but it just wasn't meant to be. It means either cutting a full page of content or adding a full page of content, and that ain't an easy thing to do. But yeah, so we've.
But it's a design thing that we can keep in mind moving forward. Like
a
lot of the stuff that kind of went into that launch issue was a lot of like finding our footing, especially with the comic, and like working together in that way, because we've always been like friendly and we've gotten along, but this has really been our first thing that we've really collaborated on, like speaking to what we were talking about previously, it is very collaborative. We're very much doing it together. As much as I sit down and do the final artwork for most of it, or for all of it really, every step of the way is very much like input, change, and that's been I think it's been a process for both of us to get used to.
100%. Like you've never made a comic before. I've never made a comic before.
No.
So like when we were like, hey, do you want to make a comic? It's literally the same as with this magazine. I've not made a magazine before, so I had to learn how to make a magazine and learn how to do layouts and learn about margins and.
This is your first
I know, yeah, so good. But it was the same with the comic. It was like, okay, we need to kind of like learn how to do a short form story and how to storyboard it, and the pacing over 4 pages and finishing on something that is exciting to make people want to go on to the next one. And you were doing a lot of behind the scenes homework on like dialogue and kind of where to place stuff and positioning panels.
Oh,
and stuff
absolutely.
like that.
There was a ton of stuff that I learned that I had no idea to even think about like previously. Because I had done like shorter narrative like work on my Instagram and more interactive bits there, and it all kind of had a comic book sheen, at least in the style and the way that I was going through stuff. But in terms of telling a story in 4 pages and then paneling it out, even down to the really, like, I guess more practical stuff, to where it's like, how much space do you put between the letters and the size of the bubble?
Mm-hmm.
When do you capitalize the I as opposed to leaving it lowercase? Like different weird stuff like that I didn't realize, but in my first like rudimentary Google searches of how to make a comic book, like someone like, here's 5 tips with stock music behind it and an automated robot voice giving me the 5 things on how to make a comic
From
book.
BuzzFeed.
Exactly,
just,
yeah.
That's how you learn how to make a comic, just from BuzzFeed.
That's kind of that. A lot of that stuff was like, oh, okay, cool. And then moving into issue 1, I get to like expand upon those things and kind of twist them a little bit, and like any other art form, any other practice. Same thing with the magazine. I'm sure that moving into the next issue, the next one's coming up, you guys are more comfortable with what you're going to have to put into it.
Yeah, to a degree. But no, I think you're right with the comic. I think you try to get a little bit more experimental. Like for the first page, originally you just wanted that to be black and white, didn't you? You're like, I just want this to be black and white. This first page.
That's how I generally do most of my work anyway. So yeah, that's kind of where I was at with it.
Yeah, and then I was like, no, put some color in it. It looks weird, and it did. It did like
no, it did absolutely.
Yeah.
My work looks like shit. You're right, Alex.
It clashed. It clashed too much going into full color. It was a good idea.
No, it did.
It was a good concept. I think we could have maybe done it sepia, but again, I think what we've got, we're all happy with.
I like where it's at.
Yeah. But then, it was stuff like that. Trying to get a little bit creative stuff, and things like at the bottom of page 2, when the daughter is running away and we've got her running out of frame. I think originally you had her flipped and she was just running away, or
running to like the left, off the page essentially, but not into the next page.
Not into the next page. You're just like, where is she going? But it was like, but this is the thing. This is why you storyboard, right? This is why you storyboard, because otherwise you do what Tony does, where he comes at you. Where you're like, okay, here's some ideas with the storyboard, Tony. And then he comes at you with the full sketch done. He's like, hey, look at this full inked artwork I've done. I'm like, well, it's wrong, so now you need to go and change some of it.
Multiple rounds of revisions, I just do 80% of the artwork and then hope that it's right, so I don't have to do it over again.
And sometimes it is.
80% of the time, I have to redo it.
Yeah, sometimes it's right. But we had the same slight back and forths with the DM screen.
Oh, actually, yeah, we did.
The layout and the perspective, particularly with the ranger at the front, I'm like, looks too weird. Looks like they're massive. The owl just looks like it. You can't tell what size it is. It looks like a giant owl. But sometimes it is. Sometimes you can't see the wood for the trees. You are so engrossed in what you're doing,
well, sure.
that it is kind of hard to have, like a different outsider's perspective on it. So, and that was the thing. You do so much work and be so invested, and just wanted one of those attaboys. And straight away, I'm like,
and it never comes.
Here comes the shit sandwich. That looks good, Tony.
I'll send it through to our chat with everybody else in there.
Yeah.
No one will fucking say a word, but it'll just be Alex and goes, looks nice, but, and then I wait 20 minutes for 3 paragraphs worth of what I have to change.
But how good it looks at the end, though.
No, it does look really nice.
Yeah.
Whether we tweaked it, messed with it for a while.
Yeah, and I asked this question when we did the initial recording, and I've just remembered that I asked the question. But what is, collectively, the thing that we're most looking forward to with the comic?
Ooh.
We can't not mention that, because it's going to be pretty good.
No, not at all. We're both very excited about having there be a reader's vote at the end of, what is it, issue 3 we're going to do it?
I think it's issue 3, yeah.
Yeah, where people that are reading anywhere that they can get their hands on it are going to be able to decide, between 2 options. We don't want to kind of give away what they're going to be, but you're going to have a hand in deciding where the story goes at the end of issue 3.
It finishes at a very pivotal moment we obviously know what's going to happen, and we have stuff that we are going to have pre-made, but it is stuff that is drastically going to change some stuff in the magazine, in the comic, and so that should be pretty good. So
I'm excited about that because it'll be such a large decision.
Yeah.
And the way that we want to do it, I know we both decided, like, if we're going to do this, let's make sure that whatever they vote on, whatever they decide on, matters and counts and has, like, a weighty, heavy consequence.
Repercussions.
Yeah.
One way or the other. And so the intention is that to be in issue 3. We're not going to be holden to it, but hopefully anybody that has subscribed for 3 issues, they'll be able to see what that is. But you will need to then subscribe for issue 4 if you want to see the results. But yeah, so we'll see how that one goes. That was a long video, but it is the first time we've spoke about the comic, because like in the next issue, then we won't need to speak about all this lead up to it, because we've already been there, got there, and done it all. I'm sure there's other stuff that we forgot to talk about, but I think that was...
I'm sure they're done listening to me ramble.
Crucible Magazine is a lot more professional and high quality than these videos, so make sure you go and check it out. This video will probably come out whilst the Kickstarter is still available, but if it is not, then I'm sure you can check us out at cruciblemag.com. There will be a link in the description of this video. But let us know what you think. If you've got any questions, then we will be happy to answer them. Any questions or thoughts or comments, then let it rip. Let us find out about it. And if you are interested in checking out this comic, then you can check it out because it's free. The first launch issue is completely free. And you can get it over at the Kickstarter. You can sign up to our newsletter at cruciblemag.com, and we will send you a link to download it. You can get it on Foundry VTT or as a 92-page including the cover, 92-page PDF. Thank you, folks, for watching or listening. Really, it's a bit of an audio-y bit. This, some nice, pretty pictures thrown up every so often. But yeah, we will see you in the next video. Bye bye bye.
Bye bye.